Namaskar, my name is Holly Kastora and I'm a senior certified Iyengar yoga teacher, and today we're going to practice Urdhva Dhanurasana as a preparation for Dvipada Viparita Dandasana, and then we'll practice Dvipada Viparita Dandasana as well. So, just want to talk about taking the tailbone in, and so that's a important action to establish in Dandasana, right? That we're taking the tailbone in, but also that the upper back thighs are spreading laterally out to the sides, and the top of the femurs are pushed backward into the hamstrings as the tailbone is brought in, okay? So that the hamstrings evolve away from the upper back thighs and as the tailbone comes in, okay? So from the outer hips to the outer knees to the outer ankles, I'm in one line, okay? And then those are the same legs that you're going to have in Urdhva Dhanurasana. So, going to think about how the hamstrings can, as Gurji says in Tadasana, lift the back of the thighs up, how the hamstrings, which are on the back of the thighs, can lift up towards the buttocks as the calves move down towards the heels. And it's those two actions that create that opening at the back of the knee joint. Okay, so I'm going to use my blocks to keep me from just pushing my elbows back and towards the wall behind me. And in the preparation for Urdhva Dhanurasana, when I taught you just before Adho Mukha Svanasana and Adho Mukha Vrikshasana, I said that Abhijata had told us, Abhijata Iyengar had said that we're all in a hurry to open our chest, but we don't lift the lower part of it in dog pose, but we're all in a hurry to open our chest, which is the upper back, but we don't lift the lower back up, okay? So let's remember that directive from her as we come to Urdhva Dhanurasana, okay? So I'm moving my lower back away from my middle back and lifting the hips, the buttocks, and the top of the thighs up and back and towards the knees, and then I'm lifting my head off of the floor, okay? Now from here, I'm going to press my fingerprints and thumbprints strongly down as I walk back, and I want to lift the armpits up from the top near the floor to the bottom, okay? And then again, I'm thinking of how I want to move my lower back away from my middle back and lift my lower back, the buttocks and the hips up and away from the floor, as well as lifting the top of the thighs up. Now the tailbone is in, so all I have to do is bring the calves down. I have to walk back a little bit. Bring the calves down to the floor while keeping the outer knees lifting up and away from the floor. And then I walk back, bring my head down, and come out. Okay, now we're going to practice Dvipada Viparita Dandasana, and to get more opening in the armpits, we're going to support the elbows and the backs of the upper arms against the blocks, and also take a blanket for underneath the head. And I don't have an extra blanket with me today, But what I do have is an extra mat. So I'm going to take that mat and fold it into fourths so I can place it underneath my head. So I'm taking that mat to the wall between the blocks. And I'm going to sit down on it. Now, when I lie down, I'm thinking about how I want to spread the buttocks away from each other. I want to spread the lower spinal muscles in the lumbar part of the back and the thoracic spinal muscles laterally out to the side and the tops of the shoulders. So I'm not gripping my spine with my spinal muscles. The spinal muscles are spreading, but the vertebra then have they're liberated and they can move in, okay? So I'm going to start as if I'm going into Urdhva Dhanurasana, okay? As if I'm coming into Urdhva Dhanurasana, and I'm going to lift my heels up and walk in, and I want to get my forearms perpendicular to the blocks and then bring the upper arms over the forearms, and I'm moving my lower back towards the backs of my thighs and lifting the back of the thighs up. So as I lower my heels down, I want to lift the tailbone up, okay? And then I'm going to walk my feet forward enough so that I can bend my elbows and get my head down onto the mat, but I keep the shoulders lifting up and away from the floor. Okay, and now I'm going to bring the back of the elbows, the center of the back of the elbows against the blocks, and then I'm going to walk back and bring the top of the biceps against the blocks and keep the tailbone lifting up the entire time. So I'm spreading out across the clavicles, taking the outer shoulders and the outer armpits towards the wall and lifting the bottom, the top of the armpit up towards the bottom of the armpit as I lift the tailbone up. And then I'm going to slide my feet away, lift up into Urdhva Dhanurasana, and then lie back down.